And we're talking boxing. The great Sal Canelo Alvarez returns to the light heavyweight division this weekend. He's back and he challenges for the WBA title against the undefeated champion, the hugely dangerous Dimitri Bivol. We're looking ahead to this fight in partnership with William Hill. Spencer's with Simon and myself, of course, as we look at this one. So he's back, Spence. I mean, probably the biggest name, the biggest attraction in the fight game at this time. He beat Caleb Plant last November. And Plant at the end of the day had to salute the better fighter.
Yeah.
Is it going to be the same again here? Is Canelo just in a different world, a different league to anyone else at this time?
I think so. Listen, at the moment, I think that Canelo, there's a lot of moving parts with Canelo at the moment. He's talking about, he's got this fight with Bivol on Saturday night for the WBA light heavyweight title. He beat Kovalev up at light heavyweight before, but he knocked him out in the 11th round, but he was losing that fight, to be fair, against a faded Kovalev. So Bivol's a live opponent, but we've seen Bivol over here before. He boxed Craig Richards, and he didn't look particularly good. I wasn't impressed. He looked good in little flashes, in spurts, but I wasn't particularly impressed. So I expect Canelo to come through. Now, here's an interesting one for you, Jim. There's talk now of Alexander Usyk's manager has come out and said that Usyk would be willing to go down to 1 pound above the cruiserweight division for Alvarez to fight at heavyweight. So there's another thing that is a possibility, and that's a fight that Alvarez probably would take that. Alvarez said if you come up 1 pound above the cruiserweight limit, we get it on. So it's something that could happen. I mean, as well.
Simon, does Bivol have the remotest chance of doing anything against Canelo? I mean, he's 19-0.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the fight that he thought Craig Richards, and I think it's universally understood that if Craig Richards had believed himself a little bit more, he potentially could have won that fight.
I agree.
I don't think again, we talk about levels, and he's going up in weight classes, but I just think the level of and gulf in quality that Canelo Alvarez has will be too much for this. I think he's a mediocre champion.
And there was high praise.
It's an awful thing to say,
because
never having laced up a set of gloves, you have to be careful what you say. But when you're talking about it objectively and with an interested eye, I don't think he's a great champion. So I think interestingly, he's picked him to fight at this weight at.
Yeah,
and I think that's because he thinks he can win it at this weight.
Yeah,
and against this particular champion. So I don't give him much of a chance. No.
Yeah, I think Bivol was one of those guys. There was high hopes for him and high praise for him being one of the best fighters in the world, pound for pound, and he hasn't really delivered in his last couple of fights. He's looked mediocre in his last couple of fights. It's probably why Canelo Alvarez has decided to take him as the fight.
That's my point.
And
interesting, isn't it? Isn't it interesting how little joined up the sports are? This is a Russian fighting.
Do you know what, Simon? I was just thinking that. So he's Russian and he's fighting, and as you say, a massively attractive fight. It will get huge coverage on a worldwide basis,
beamed around the world,
and Bivol gets a massive platform in the process. So should he be fighting?
Well, this is the $1 million question, isn't it?
What do you think, Spencer? Why has boxing opened the door to an albeit unbeaten fighter, but who's Russian?
Every other sport has banned Russians from competing. Why is boxing any different? So the answer to your question, Jim, is no, he shouldn't be fighting because he's Russian. But I don't know that boxing seems to have turned a blind eye to that because he's not the only Russian that boxed in recent times. Other Russians are boxing as well, so it seems to be the only sport that allows this to happen, and I'm not sure why that is.
It's beset with hypocrisy. You've got people like Matthew Macklin that can't get on a plane and comment on something because he once a time had a relationship with somebody that someone else has a problem with, and a legitimate problem, no doubt. But this is a situation that whether we like it or we don't like it, Russian athletes are leverageable and usable in a propaganda war that's being fought. And that's the reasons why, tragically, individuals are being taken out of other sports, and boxing should not be immune.
I agree.
Well, I agree. Let's just say Dimitri Bivol finds a way and beats Canelo. Can you imagine the profile that fighter will have thereafter? And who he may or may not be pictured with?
Absolutely, and the leveraging of it.
It will also bring boxing into the spotlight massively because of his status, because he's Russian. They're going to be
for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah,
for the wrong reasons.
Having said all that, Canelo to win it, right?
Canelo should win. What I'm saying is Bivol's a live opponent, though. He's decent, and he's one of those guys that may just rise to the occasion, may rise to the opponent. He's done nothing wrong so far. Undefeated, 19 fights. world champion, current world champion. It's an interesting fight.
If he were to be able to beat Canelo Alvarez, how would he be able to do it?
Right, so how he would beat Alvarez is he's good behind the jab, he's good defensively. Obviously has size on his side. Alvarez has come up from welterweight. He's now competing at light heavyweight, and he's very small, 5'8".
What's the poundage difference? What's the poundage difference to going from welterweight to where he's fighting
welterweight is at 147.
So what will he be at now?
And he's up at light heavyweight, which is 168, I think it is. Something. Yeah.
Spencer, just say anything he won't know.
Yeah. But anyway, going back to it, I think that Bivol, if he wins this fight, he gets behind his jab and he makes things difficult for Alvarez. Alvarez is a guy that likes to get inside, sit in the pocket, let the big bombs go. But Bivol has got the ability to be able to keep it long, use his boxing skills and his defensive skills. So interesting fight.
Spencer, in the little time we've got left, a couple of things I want to throw at you. Paul Butler, who I've met and interviewed from the Northwest, of course, he's become a WBO bantamweight world champion, but by default.
Yeah.
Did you see this?
Yeah.
John Real Casimiro has been stripped of his WBO bantamweight world title. And now Butler, 2 times champion at 33, is now in line for an undisputed fight against the winner of Inoue against Donaire too. So all of a sudden, he has been propelled into the limelight, Butler, maybe when he least expected it.
Yeah, do you know what it is? This is a great point to bring up about boxing, because people don't really know what interim titles are. When you box for the interim title, that means that you are the interim champion, and if the champion, for some reason or another, can't make the weight or can't defend in time or whatever, you jump straight, you get catapulted up into that position where you become champion. And so the guy that was the former champion hadn't made the weight for 2.5 years, couldn't make the weight. He was meant to box over here before. I think he was meant to box Butler before, but he was sat in a sauna, and that was against all the rules and regulations, so they stopped him from fighting that one. So yeah, he just couldn't make the weight. In that meantime, Paul Butler had won this interim title, so he gets elevated up into full champion.
Almost same as what happened with Lennox Lewis, isn't it?
Absolutely.
When both chucked the belts in the bin.
I'm pleased for Paul.
You know what Casimiro did? Actually, Sam, he used a sauna to shed weight.
And
that broke the British Boxing Board of Control rules.
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, his team claimed that they were unaware of the ban on sauna use.
Yeah.
I find that hard to believe, Spence.
Of course, it's a load of nonsense. Of course, you know what the rules are. You have rules meetings.
For sure.
You know what they are.
Jim's always hanging around saunas. So
very much so. we finish off today with this chance meeting, like the chance meeting I had with Simon the other day outside the sauna. A chance meeting Dillian Whyte and the man Richard Rapport has just bumped into in the gym, Anthony Joshua. Apparently they bumped into each other.
Yeah.
And hey ho, what do you know? They might be talking about fighting each other.
Well, listen,
or will they?
Well, I'll tell you how they fight each other, and I think if that Anthony Joshua loses again to Alexander Usyk, Dillian Whyte, Anthony Joshua, perfect match. Grudge match. They've got history between each other. Great fight. The first time they boxed, or the second time, because they boxed once as amateurs, but the first time they boxed as professionals, good fight. AJ was clearly hurt. It was only inexperience that got AJ through that fight in that first fight with that left hook.
It's an awful concept for Anthony Joshua, though. If he loses to Usyk and then being, with due respect, being reduced to fighting Dillian Whyte on a domestic level,
I get it.
You might as well retire, because you've won, you've set the standards, you've been paid at such a level, you're a poster boy for everything, and now you're fighting Dillian Whyte for what?
I get it.
Jim Whyte and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.